win 11
Yeah, because you're
year.
way too down on them, KW.
I mean, it's
That's
6
why.
wins.
That's why you're.
It's six wins last year. Fifth hardest schedule. So you thought the Patriots' schedule was bad. Look at the Chiefs' schedule, fifth hardest. Now, granted, you got the Cardinals, Colts, Jets, Patriots, 49ers at home.
Yeah,
That's actually not too bad. On the road, Bengals, Bills,
I don't
Dolphins,
think it's that
Falcons,
hard.
Rams, Seahawks. Well, you got. I think it's Broncos, Chargers, and the resurgent Raiders
Yes.
that you got to be a little bit worried about. But fifth hardest officially.
Yeah. So listen, I understand the Chiefs were awful last year, but I do think that their number being the same as the two teams that played in the Super Bowl last year for next year is instructive. That UKW, I don't know where Brew is, but UKW might be a little too down on the Chiefs because even though you're beloved in Kansas City and believe in Patrick Mahomes sometimes, I think you expect them to have a really rough season next year. I do not. I think that now, do I think they're going to win 13 games? I wouldn't say that, but I know that Andy Reid, since he's been with the Chiefs, here's how many games they have won each year. Patrick Mahomes was not there for all of those years. So every year of Mahomes' career prior to last year, obviously they would have hit this over. But also, 3 of the years before Mahomes got there, they would have hit this over. He is still an excellent coach. They are going to actually, be able to add real impact guys in the draft because of the disastrous season. And obviously, Brew, if Patrick is out until week 6, that changes everything. I do not believe that's going to be the case. I believe Patrick Mahomes is going to be dancing at Travis Kelce's wedding, is going to be starting for the Chiefs in week 1. And so I will go with the over for the now all of a sudden truly hunters, the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, pardon me.
Look, I may change my mind going into the regular season.
This is all just in pencil for the record.
But right now, I'm going under. I'm not convinced that Mahomes is going to be dancing, as you like to say, at Kelsey's wedding. And maybe he will dance, but that's different than playing football week 1. So I'm questioning whether he's there for week 1. And then, Nick, how much does that, the injury affect him? Does it take him 4 or 5 weeks to get back to form? Remember, this year running was a big part of his game. Yeah. And so that's probably not going to be the case, certainly initially next year. And so right now I'm going with the under.
I believe this upcoming period for the Kansas City Chiefs will be genuinely fascinating to observe. They've become such a difficult team to discuss objectively because the conversation inevitably circles back to Patrick Mahomes. Every analysis, every projection, every debate seems to hinge on the assumption that Mahomes is healthy and everything is fine. But I've been trying to find a more nuanced way to approach these discussions, especially given what we know about significant injuries and recovery timelines. Even when an athlete makes what doctors classify as a full recovery, even when all the medical reports come back clean, there's still a period of adjustment. It takes time to rebuild that comfort level, to restore that unconscious confidence in your own body. You start to notice soreness in places where soreness never existed before. You experience pain during routine activities, lying in bed after a game, attempting to sleep, even just moving in the shower. It's fundamentally different. When he's kneeling down to play with his children, squatting to pick something up off the floor, it's just forever altered. His own teammate understands this reality intimately. I've quoted Travis Kelce on this numerous times. He's spoken openly about having undergone more than 10 surgical procedures throughout his career and admitted that not a single day passes without him feeling every one of them. That resonates with my own experiences as well. It's all part of the journey, part of the price these athletes pay. Now, to directly address the question at hand, if we operate under the assumption that Patrick Mahomes is at full strength, that the recovery is complete and he's back to his normal self, then yes, I believe the Chiefs will reestablish themselves as a top-tier franchise in the NFL. That seems fairly straightforward to me. But before I go any further with this analysis, I want to address the Kansas City Chiefs fans directly. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and watch the full video. When you do that, it genuinely makes a difference. Views increase significantly, subscriber counts grow. And this isn't just about chasing metrics for the sake of numbers. I truly mean that. It's about creating content that people actually want to engage with. Content that sparks genuine discussion and allows us to have real, grounded, unbiased conversations about the Kansas City Chiefs. Because let's be honest, you all, especially Chiefs fans, are fed an enormous amount of nonsense from various corners of the media landscape. I'm sorry, but it's true. You're presented with two extremes. On one side, you get nothing but unfounded optimism, declarations that everything is perfect, that this is the greatest thing in the history of organized sports, essentially whatever narrative Nick Wright is pushing at any given moment. On the other side, you get the doomsayers insisting it's over. The dynasty has crumbled, they're finished, complete with Colin Cowherd pulling out a tombstone graphic. Say whatever you want about my analysis, but I strive to keep it 100% real with Kansas City. We have our moments of humor, we share some jokes, but I make a genuine effort to accurately communicate what I believe to be the reality of the situation, as unbiasedly as humanly possible. So, here's where I land. I'm not going to count them out. I've said this consistently throughout the season, and I'll say it again now. As long as you have Steve Spagnuolo coordinating that defense, as long as you have Andy Reid designing that offense, as long as you have Patrick Mahomes executing at quarterback, that trio alone commands respect. Now, do I believe the Chiefs are automatically going to bounce back and reclaim their previous identity as the utterly terrifying force they once were? The team where you felt like if you gave them even a millimeter of space, the game was simply over? I used to say that all the time. The moment an opponent made the tiniest mistake, failed on fourth down, missed an extra point, committed any minor error, it was done. Game over. That's all they needed. For years, the dynamic felt like we were all just waiting for you to make a mistake, because as soon as you did, they would capitalize and win. Do they still possess that ability right now? Probably not, is my guess. My projection, at least at this moment, and again, this is incredibly difficult because we don't know what Mahomes will look like post-recovery, and we haven't seen free agency play out, and the draft hasn't happened yet, and all that fun stuff remains unsettled. But my sense is that the Chiefs slide into the category occupied by teams like the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cincinnati Bengals when they're actually healthy. I think they become just a top team, a great team, a dangerous team, certainly not a franchise anyone is excited to face. But do they inspire that feeling of dread where you know 1 inch of space will end your hopes? I don't think so. The Bills never had that aura. The Ravens never had it. Honestly, only the Chiefs had that. Only them. And I'm not comparing styles of play here. I'm talking about the quality of greatness, the perceived level of inevitability. I think they transform into what we've observed since roughly 2022, 2023, 2024. The Lions, the Bills, the Ravens, the 49ers. They've all had slightly different versions of themselves, particularly San Francisco. But I believe that's the tier the Chiefs enter now, at least for this immediate season and perhaps the next. Can they reclaim their status as the team that's clearly a cut above, the franchise that carries that extra edge, simply because they are the Kansas City Chiefs? That remains to be seen. There are factors working in their favor. They're going to have their best draft selection in years, the best opportunity to secure premium talent that they've ever had during the Andy Mahomes Spags era. And that can go an incredibly long way toward replenishing the roster. I previously suggested this was a possibility because I actually thought the Chiefs would be better last season. I defended them repeatedly, stood by them consistently, and then they fell off a cliff. But I was thinking, especially during those early season struggles when they couldn't win games, I wondered if it would be too late by the time Rashee Rice returned, when Xavier Worthy got more comfortable. I questioned whether they might be so bad that they couldn't accumulate enough wins to make the playoffs, resulting in an artificially high draft pick, top 3, top 4 territory. And I remember thinking what a massive gift that would be, to draft at the top of the order in a way that doesn't actually reflect your true organizational quality. It's artificial, it's not representative, and while it didn't play out exactly that way, they got close enough. I do believe their Finnaw record was not truly representative of who they are as a team. Consequently, they're now drafting in a higher position than a team of their caliber normally would. And that has the genuine potential to catapult them forward, to set them up for sustained success. Now, can it all happen overnight? The draft itself happens in one evening, but realizing the full benefits, seeing those players develop into contributors, that takes time. That's why I think this coming season ends up being more of a transitional year. A season where the message is simply, okay, we can be back to who we were. And then the following year, And the year after that, you have the potential for something greater. But then new questions emerge. Who is Patrick Mahomes at that point? Who is Andy Reid? Who is Spags? Those individuals are approaching different stages of their careers. Retirement becomes a more realistic consideration. And Mahomes is older now too, with surgically repaired knees, so it's complicated. It's a multifaceted situation. But if you're projecting the Chiefs to have back-to-back seasons with 6 wins, then 8 wins, I struggle to see that materializing. I genuinely struggle to envision that scenario. It's going to be interesting, because I firmly believe Patrick Mahomes' game has to evolve. I believe Lamar Jackson's game has to evolve. Josh Allen's game has to evolve. And among all those quarterbacks, the best possible mentor to guide that evolution is none other than Andy Reid. But I do think Mahomes' game must adapt, especially considering the knee injury, especially considering his advancing age. What that evolution looks like in practice? No idea. It's complicated further by the fact that his game needed to evolve regardless of whether he underwent surgery. And now he's unable to work on that evolution throughout this offseason, unable to refine those new elements while also recovering. So it's curious. It's definitely a steep hill to climb. But if you don't believe Patrick Mahomes and Andy and Spags and that organization can climb a steep hill, well, then you simply don't know them. Those are just my perspectives on the matter. I'm genuinely interested in hearing your thoughts. What's your assessment of the Kansas City Chiefs? Where do you have them? Over or under 10.5 wins? The schedule is what it is. I mean, you get to play the Cardinals and the Jets. That seems fairly favorable to me. The Dolphins matchup seems favorable. You play the Bills every year? That's always competitive. The schedule doesn't jump out as particularly daunting. What matters more is the trajectory of the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers. How good will they be? How much will they improve? If all three take significant steps forward, that obviously changes the division calculus considerably. But in terms of the schedule itself, I'm not looking at it thinking, oh man, that's brutal. It's an NFL schedule. Just another year in the league. Those are my preliminary thoughts. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with my analysis or you're ready to challenge it, either way, let's generate some meaningful discussion. Let's engage in some spirited debates. But most importantly, let's keep it enjoyable. And please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We're cultivating an incredible community here, and I genuinely value having you as part of it. My goal is to build something that fosters genuine connection, something we're all truly excited to contribute to. I believe we're making substantial progress toward that vision. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It significantly enhances visibility and supports the algorithm. Thank you so much for your continued support. I'll see you in the next one.